Hi, friend.
Hi, friend.
And to the brave hearts listening out there, welcome to Permission to be Human. I'm Andrea.
And I'm Janelle.
Get ready for some real-time relationship woo and wisdom
from the front lines with occasional tantrums and tears
about how breaking rules, blurring boundaries, and tossing tradition can be catalysts for finding your truth.
Let's debunk the fairy tales we were told as children and create a new map for life.
Yes, Disney can go fuck itself.
If you're seeking permission to choose your own path,
freedom is the new F word, people,
and want to feel less alone along the way,
we got you. Please note, this is our side of the story. Our partners and metamors have their own individual experiences, and we do not speak for them. Hi, Janelle.
Hey, Andrea.
We are here again with our second episode of season 2.
Yay!
Permission to be Human. And what are we talking about today?
Of men and money. Dun, da, da.
So let's just take that out. Of money and men. Sounds way better. Because there is because there's of monsters and men.
Right. Totally.
You've been like switching it for a while, and I'm just like, no.
Okay, so do we start from the scratch from the beginning?
No, let's just keep it in.
Okay.
Just highlights are like whatever, my like ridiculous's about the words.
Yes.
Of money and men.
Of money and men. And just another like interject. I have seen the movie Deadpool. And I caught that reference the other day when you brought it up.
You totally did.
Yeah, and I know what the fourth wall is, and I understand.
You totally did. You knew Deadpool, which is so surprising to me too.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Woo! Here we are, back on track.
Hi, brave hearts, we're back. Of money and men. So, recently, Janelle hosted a Braveheart retreat here at the Goddess Temple. My 14-year-old daughter was babysitting a 16-month-old who was here for the weekend with a participant who had flown in from Finland. And
it was a special occasion. Normally, children are not here.
This is true.
It was a very special occasion.
And so, what did my daughter ask you?
So she had been out earlier before she'd gotten to my house. And she's like, I don't know, like maybe it was a date. I'm not sure if it was the date because he offered to pay. And so if he pays, does it make it a date? And I just like looked at her and I was like, I don't know if this is, I don't know the answer to this question. Have you talked to your mom about it?
I was going to say, like, what did she say? Like, I don't even know. So what did you say? Yeah.
What we came to, I was like, well, do you want it to be a date, regardless of the paying and the not paying? Would you like to see him again? And would you like there to be a second date? So I started with that. Right?
What did she say?
And so she said yes. She also recognized that on this first date, she figured out that he was not as emotionally aware as she thought. And so she's like, I'd like to go for a second date, but I'm still kind of feeling things out.
Okay. So were you implying then that if he paid, that there would be a second date, or if he didn't pay?
I was taking away, I was like, let's just not even talk about the payment for the moment. I was like, what's in your heart? Do you want to see him again or not as a date? Okay. And then we can talk about
Got it.
this.
Okay. So as you see, this comes up with all ages.
Yeah.
But it's definitely like a conundrum I feel like we've run into lately. And ultimately, I think it stems from these two sentences. Feminism tends to say, from my experience, women and men should get equal pay. There's a lot of feminists out there fighting for the idea that, come on, pay women the same as men.
Yes. Yeah. Same job, same pay.
Right. Like, of course, I support this. And
As do I.
As do you. And something that has been pointed out to me over time is that women are always going to be the ones that are pregnant. They are always going to be the ones that have the baby because of biology. And therefore, that's always going to be throwing a wrench into their careers. So it feels like there needs to be some kind of allowance for the fact that that's never going to change, and that's always going to be something they're bumping into. They're not going to be able to put as much time in because they are, in fact, becoming pregnant and birthing a child.
Right. And this is like venturing into like, this is not the topic for today, but I will also acknowledge that as a culture, if we value the fact of children, we value children, and we value how do you have children in the world? Oh, they actually need to be birthed. And as you pointed out, women are the ones who are birthing them. So then women are doing their contribution in
A different way.
in a different way. And so should payment not be based on like, oh, because you didn't get pregnant, you should get paid more. That to me is a fucked up mentality.
No, but what I'm saying is that they're getting pregnant and they're having to take time off for that, which means they are going away.
Yes.
And they are not present at the job.
And back to where I feel cultural changes should be, I actually think men should be able to take time off, right?
For sure.
When there's a baby happening. So I want to this I feel like is a whole other conversation about what we're talking about today. But I agree that I think that the way that as a culture that how we as companies look at profits over people and everyone, like, people are having children, like, fact,
All the time.
in every company across the country, people are having children. And so can we honor that? Can we honor it for the women who are working there? And can we honor it for the men who are working there? And can we honor it for the people who are at home with the baby? So
Okay, so we already got off on a little tangent. We're in the second sentence. But yes, appreciate what you said. Completely agree. So the two principles, I'll just start again, are feminism says women and men should get equal pay. We just covered that. Some women are saying, and I see this being implied or saying outright, I want the man to pay when we go out on a date. And I see a contradiction there. So this is basically the conundrum I've come into.
But I just want to also clarify something. You're saying some women are saying, right? So do you think if men say, I want to pay when we go out, then they're saying that women shouldn't be paid equal? Like, I just want to...
I'm not sure. Yeah, it's a great question, though, too. I don't know what men are saying enough. I mean, I only have a couple of samples. And I only have a couple of samples from women, too. But I definitely see a contradiction there in some, because women are saying, well, I want the man to pay. But then they're also a feminist saying, I want women to be paid the same amount.
Right, but however, are women being paid the same amount as of today? No. We're still getting paid 71% on the dollar to what men are getting paid.
Correct.
So there's a goal here, but it's not the reality.
No, but it's a case-by-case basis. Like, some women are making more, some wives are making more than their husbands.
Right.
Depends on who you're going out with. You might be making more than the guy, or the guy might be making more than you. It might be equal.
So is it even related to feminism and men or women should be treated equal, or is it actually just how much money does each person have, and it has nothing to do with feminism?
I would agree that it should totally have to do with how much each person is making. But I'm hearing from these few women blindly, like, no, I want the man to pay. Like, that's the deal. So I think that's where I personally experienced this, because I am in a marriage where I am sometimes dating and my husband is sometimes dating. And there is some kind of an expectation that he's going to pay for the date. And I'm like, hey, like, you're not a single guy looking to get married. You have a family and a wife and a house. Like, why should you pay? And this person you're dating also is not, like, lesser than you. So why shouldn't it be equal?
And that person could have a partner and a child and all that.
They could. They may not. Right? So, and then at the same time, I'm going out on these dates. I've done a ton of dating in the last couple of months. And my attitude on it is that when we go out, I feel it out, but because I'm having these coffee dates in the middle of the day, my entire attitude is either I don't get anything or we each pay for ourselves. There's been a couple times when the guy has offered to pay and I have allowed him to pay. But in general, my rule of thumb is more just that it's equal, especially this early on a first.
So we're talking about a first date.
Correct. Just talking about a first date now. And maybe we wouldn't call it a date. Like, some people wouldn't call it a date. It's like a meeting.
Memphis would call it an interview.
Which I think is not such a bad. So, I think ultimately what we're talking about here, just as another arc, is feminism and feminine.
yes, on the one hand, except what I also said, I don't even know that it has to be related to feminism in the sense that women are not getting paid the same as men, right? So it's as a theory, feminism say like men are getting people, but here I'm looking at a reality. And so then it's really about like, okay, so two people are going out on a date. So what you're going to see, Bravehearts, I feel like actually very warm. I'm like, sorry.
Are you starting to sweat already?
Which is not
This is a prickly topic for us.
Yes. So we are acknowledging we are like in this. We're not coming to you with we've got like we've went through something, we're on the other side and we're reporting back. We are very much in we're having a real-time conversation between the two of us. This isn't clean. This isn't like polished.
Yeah, exactly.
And so there's I'm always hesitant when I don't know what it is I'm going to say or how I'm going to feel. Because in some of these, I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this yet. So we're going to try our best.
Yeah.
This is my qualification of us being, not that we're ever striving for perfection, but that we're acknowledging this is a vulnerable conversation.
It's messy.
For us to be sharing with publicly about things.
Okay. So going back to what you said, and I keep hearing you say, well, you're talking about feminism, you're talking about equal pay, and that's not reality. So let's take that off the table for a minute. When I'm talking about feminism, in some ways now, I'm talking about a person feeling like, hey, I can pay for my own coffee. I don't need a guy to do it. So there's that attitude. Then there's also, I want the guy to take care of me. Have him pay. Right? So these are the two, I'd say these are the two attitudes. I can only speak from a female perspective here. So maybe we should start with our expectations. So this is what I have. I'm like getting back to the script. Okay, so Janelle, what is your expectation on a first coffee and then on continuing dates?
Okay, so what I used to do was to split 50-50 and to offer. Like I would say the nuance was that if I really liked the guy and he offered to pay and we were going to go out again, then maybe there was a yes. But if I didn't really like the guy, and he offered to pay, I'd be like, no, it's okay. Right? Yeah. Because I was like, I'm not going to see you again. So
that's true. But that's at the end of a dinner. If you're having coffee, it's in the beginning and you don't know yet.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's okay. If you don't, because you're not doing that.
I'm not doing that right now. And this is a while back. But,
okay. Got it.
But I think that general idea was like, if I already knew that I wasn't going to see them again, I was like, I'm not going to take advantage. I'm not going to just like try to get a free ride on this meal.
Awesome. Okay.
And this maybe ties back to the beginning of the conversation, which is about like, how much are we each making? Right. As we're going through the world. And, I'm very clear that I'm in a lot of debt. And so like for me, paying for dates is not the priority that I am setting for myself.
Right.
Because, and so I'm clear with the men that I'm going out with, is that I'm asking them to pay up front. This isn't like, we're negotiating this
in the moment. Okay.
But I also don't do first coffee dates. I do Zoom calls.
Yeah, I do those Zoom calls too. But I would say my question to that though is, so then who's deciding what you're doing? Going to a Broadway show and staying in a hotel versus going on a hike, which is free.
That can be a conversation between us, but I'm not saying, I want you to pay and this is what I want us to do.
Got it. So it's a conversation or they're deciding.
Yes.
You're saying up front.
Yeah. And if they're like, I want to go hike a 14er, and I'm like, I'm not available for 7 hours, but I could do something for an hour. We could go for a hike in the park. Right. So there's.
Yeah. They're just talking about money versus non-money. So, and so what is the language you use? Do you really say, you're like, hey, I'm in debt right now, or hey, I'm on a budget, or like, I'd love to know how does that flow for you?
So I feel like what I have learned so much about myself is honoring the part of myself that's masculine and honoring the part of myself that's in my feminine.
Okay.
And I'm actually in my masculine a lot in terms of figuring out how to navigate my career, the Goddess Temple, the podcast. Like there's a lot of structure in my life.
For sure.
So for dating for me, I'm choosing to say this is one of the areas that I don't want to be quote unquote in charge. I'm in my understanding about can I lead with my feminine in relation to the masculine instead of leading with my masculine.
Beautiful.
And so that's actually what I tell them. That this is what I'm practicing. And one of my like maybe favorite things was like, or examples of this on a date that I went on, and this was a coffee date, although we had a Zoom call first. We went on a coffee date, and we met at a coffee shop. We were in New York. I had my luggage with me, and the coffee shop was like too crowded. There was no tables, so we're like, okay, well, let's go find a bar to go sit at. And I had my bags, and he was like, "Oh, can I carry them for you?" And I was like, "No, I got it." Right? Because I can carry my bags. I'm carrying them all around the friggin' country.
Right.
And then I was like, "Oh no, wait!" In my mind,
Yeah.
I was like, "Wait! I'm leading with my feminine." So then I said, "Oh, wait, sorry, excuse me. I changed my mind. Yes, I would love for you to carry my bags." So he rolls my rolly bags across the East Village, through like over the potholes and through the cobblestones, like 3 blocks. And the whole time I am like smiling, beaming ear to ear because I'm in my long coat. I'm not sweating. I'm not struggling. And I was like, oh, I remembered to allow him to help me. And then as a result, we got to the bar and I was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. That was so great. And I told him what I was doing.
That's so great. High five.
Thank you. Yeah. So in that way, that was like, you can take care of me. He felt so great because I was like, this is the best.
Right.
And I remembered that I didn't have to do it all myself. That was actually the highlight of the day.
So I love it. Okay. So I'm going to share a little bit about me, and then I have a question for you. So same, right? So like I'm also saying up front, look, I'm typically in my masculine. I want to be in my feminine. I want you to plan the date. I want you to pick me up. I don't talk about payment as much. I'm just like, I want you to do all of this. And I will say, look, I don't have a lot of extra money. Like I can't go like out to dinner and then go to a concert and that just feels so good. I think I'm so excited to say it.
Yes.
So I'm just like, it is so great to be that specific. And I have to say people respond. They're just like, great. Like they're not annoyed. They're so happy.
Right. Because
that we know what we want.
Exactly. And yeah, you're just being transparent.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah. I think it's a chance. I'm projecting. But like, maybe it's a chance for them to be in their masculine. I think it's totally true, but I have to, like, I don't know because I'm not the guy.
Right. But I think that I would say, and so I'm going to bring up some books of resources. Alison Armstrong, who is a teacher, writer, author, coach on men, women relating, and talks about what are some of the qualities of the masculine. So not saying men, but of the masculine.
Yeah.
But then if men who are wanting to lead in their masculine, these are qualities that apply to them. And we don't in our culture let them do that very much because when we are women in our masculine, we are taking this away.
Totally.
So then they're like, what am I here for?
Yes.
Can be a feeling, again, a projection. So
yeah,
what I am experimenting with, and this from my teachers and what feels important to me is how can I have more fulfilling relationships? That's actually
it's your goal.
My goal. And so how do I have more fulfilling relationships with a man who's in his masculine? Well, I was married to one, and me leading with my masculine was not the most easeful and successful approach. So I know that, tried it. So now I'm trying something different. Also an experiment. It still feels new. I'm having to remember, I'm having to practice. But
you just did.
But I'm realizing is that, but this does feel easier. And it is, and this is what I think is brilliant about what you did. We don't live in a culture where all of this is assumed. And I'm not saying it should be assumed. I'm letting the person know, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. This is what I would like. You are in choice. You get to choose to meet me here or not. Right? And
yeah. It may not be their thing. And that's fine.
That's totally fine. But that I'm saying, hey, I'm trying to like allow men to take care of me because I want you to feel good and I want to feel good.
Yeah. And I would say though, only if they want to leave it at that, right?
100%.
Like, so like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, so it has to be just you. It's like, you want them to feel good, but that might not be their thing. Like, do you know what I mean? Like.
Right. So what I'm saying is I want them to feel good. Here's what I'm offering. If they don't feel good in that, then I'm not saying you have to do it this way.
Yeah. I understand. Okay.
But I also just want to say that it is, I'm talking about dating. I'm not thinking that I'm going to push my masculine aside and never be my masculine again.
For sure.
Right? I'm honoring my masculine. I'm just choosing when I want to lead with it. When is it appropriate? When is it useful? I just ran a retreat. I needed to be in my masculine a whole bunch of the time. Yeah. And then then I danced into my feminine at different times. I was in my flow, and then I came back to my masculine. What I'm practicing is on a date, how often and for how long can I stay in my feminine?
Okay. Interesting. So I wrote a haiku when I did that 100 Days of Haiku. For me personally was, and here's how it went. I think it's just when I lead with my feminine, my masculine finds a way. And I know that's true of me because my default is masculine. I'm going, I'm leading, I'm in charge, I'm making lists, I'm getting shit done. And if I do that, I often forget about my feminine. But if I lead with my feminine, then my masculine, it's still going to happen because I'm not going to let things drop. I'm not going to not get shit done. That's just my personality. Now, everyone is different. So my question to you, I think that was all really beautiful. And my question to you is, how would you feel if a guy said to you, to be clear, I'm on a budget right now, so I'd like to split this event 50-50. How would you feel and what would you think?
Okay, so this is good. I wrote an answer to this, and then I was like, yeah. But in this moment, like what feels really clear for me is like, oh, am I choosing to prioritize that? So now I'm just like, okay, let me look at the event. Do I want to go to this event and spend X amount of dollars?
Great.
And then I could just say, no, it's not. I'm not interested in spending that much money. Now, the counter would be, if you really want to go and you want to pay for me, I would consider it, but I'm actually happy not going at all. I don't have the budget for that.
Okay. Great. How would you feel about the guy? Like, is there anything that would shift if he said, and I'm just talking from our perspective and how we're viewing men who are our primary partners right now, that gender. If he said that, would it change the way that you thought about him?
I'm not sure, but I would say, because ultimately the question is fascinating to me because it's helping me realize that I'm in a time where I'm learning to receive. And to be in devotion to my radiance. And as I mentioned, I'm currently in a lot of debt. And dating is a fun way for me to get nourished and to be taken care of. So what I'm offering in exchange is my loving presence, my touch, my playfulness, my radiance, my devotion. So it's actually not about the guy.
Okay.
It's about, this is what I want. And so if the guy can provide those feelings in me in some form, and it does it in whatever way it looks, then great. But if it's not, then it's like, okay, it's fine. It's not here. I'm going to move on.
Okay, so what I just heard you, a great job of just bringing it back to yourself. Like not judging the guy, not using that money or non-money thing to form a judgment about him.
Right.
But just being like, oh no, how does it make me feel?
Right, because this is really what I'm looking for right now.
Okay, got it.
So, but the one thing then, because that's what I'm looking for, right, it is falling into, and like, I'll talk about dates that I've been on, is that when I say, oh, this is what I want, like if I'm like, oh, I love a bathtub, and then the guy is responding with, oh, what's your favorite hotel with bathtubs? I'm like, I don't know. I haven't had the money to spend on a hotel with a bathtub. Let me know if you have one that you suggest, right? Then we're meeting in the same desires and places. So I will say that I'm not saying money isn't a factor in all of this.
Yeah.
But it is like, oh, if they were like, I guess here's a better example. If the connection is there and he's like, I don't have a lot of money to spend, but what I'd love to do is come to your house and make you dinner and rub your feet and, just devote on you for 2 hours, then I'm like, oh, that's meeting my needs. It's not, my need isn't I have to go someplace expensive.
Fancy, yeah.
It's that I want to feel nourished and in my radiance.
Okay, that's really clear. I think you had some thoughts related to the sub-dom on this, because when we discussed this originally, I don't know, a month or two ago, was that I felt like there was a little bit of a power dynamic established by whoever paid, right? So, the guy paid, and so now he's in charge, or he has a little bit of power over me. And I do feel that a little. I'm not so worried about it, but it's there. And I think particularly with someone I don't know, I'm like, oh, I don't want to owe him anything, so I don't want him to pay if I don't know him well. But I think this is potentially something that's slightly counterintuitive or something misunderstood about BDSM or subdom, because you tend to think of, okay, well, the person who's dominant is in charge and they're the one who's paying, and now they have a power dynamic over me.
So I hear you. Yeah. And I very strongly disagree.
Yeah. Right. So I get that. So I'm kind of almost being devil's advocate there. Like,
yes. Yeah, so I hear you saying that if someone's paying and they're in charge. So just as a reminder for the brave hearts, when we've talked about it, and this is in the BDSM episode, that I had, before I took my pro-dom course, had the idea that there was a hierarchy between a dom and a sub, and the dom was above the sub. And what I learned in my teachings with Rupani and Lauren Harkness was that no, in fact, the dom and the sub are equals. Because the dom can't be dom if there's no sub, and the sub can't be a sub without a dom. And the way that the roles are being played out is that the sub is asking for what they want, and the dom is agreeing to do what the sub wants within the dom's boundaries. And both get to be in pleasure, but the sub is the one who's actually setting the scene. For example, on the date that I went on last week, this was a second date, and we had this conversation. So there was the understanding that I had communicated that I would like him to plan and that I would like to feel taken care of. He also doesn't live in my city, so I was coming in for the weekend. And so we had an understanding of like, I'm coming in for a couple of days. He actually has some other partners, he has kids. And so this wasn't like, I'm looking for a longer term thing.
Yeah, I think that's important too, what you're looking for there.
Right.
And how that relates to money.
And this is the bathtub guy. So he knew that he knew that I liked bathtubs. And he liked bathtubs. Right? This wasn't just about me. It was also about him. And so he was like, great, let's find a hotel in my city and that has a bathtub. And his suggestion, I just said on my profile that I like this, right? So this is a mutuality, is what I'm saying.
Got it.
But that, he asked me what type of food I liked. He chose the restaurant, the hotel, and the experience that fit his budget.
Yeah, great. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and this feels a little bit like the RBDSM conversation that we've mentioned, or the STARS conversation, which is the safer sex is actually centered relationship boundaries, desires, sexual health, meaning aftercare. And there's a whole episode on that. But this is a conversation to have in the beginning. And I just want to stress that like, this is just as important as the RBDSM conversation is before you, I think, become intimate, is having this conversation up front. And people are not accustomed to doing it, and it's a little bit uncomfortable.
Right.
But I really encourage it.
And we had this conversation, because I was out of town. We had this conversation first. He planned the date, and then when we got together in person, then we had the RBDSM conversation. So the assumption wasn't that we didn't know what the intimacy was going to look like, even though we were renting a hotel room.
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds good.
So in the date that I was on, he paid for everything. And I was asking for what I wanted. He was creating an experience that fit his budget. And I did not put any demands on what that had to be. And I was in my like radiance, in my joy, in my excitement, in my appreciation, in my gratitude. And he felt so good. Words of affirmation. He felt it. And so I really feel like the way that I see it is that we both contributed, right? Like I contributed joy and enthusiasm and appreciation, and he created the container for that to happen. And both of us got to feel really good.
Okay, great. Okay, so I want to go back to this conversation you have before, initially. And I just think that there is so much cultural conditioning for a guy, for all of us, but for a guy, and I think it would be very challenging. I'm thinking of just a few of the men that I know. I mean, I can think of I think it would be very challenging for them to say, I'm on a budget right now and I have to go 50-50. I think that is that maybe one of the biggest hurdles. And I'm speaking for a guy, and I'm not a guy, but this is just like information I've gotten from a couple guys I know, and my husband. It's like, no, that's not easy to say. Like, there's an expectation in our society, like, of guys paying.
Yeah.
And my husband's been through it a lot, and it's so fucking annoying to me. Because, and I end up being like, fucking women, so annoying. Like, they're expecting him to pay, no discussion, and that's it. That's there. And so naturally, he's just like, I don't want to be unmasculine by saying, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but like, I can see a guy saying, I don't want to tell them I can't afford that I'm not paying for their dinner. So I think that's maybe that's one of the bigger conundrums that I'm seeing.
I feel that. And
that's just like, obviously like something I'm just like, oh,
yeah,
feels like a punch in the stomach.
And just highlighting what we're talking about is that there's not even a standard, right? There's just a lot of confusion. Like, this is so muddy. But what does this woman think versus this man think? What does this woman think? Anywhere on the spectrum, what if it's the same sex? What's happening there?
Right.
So, like, what if you're non-binary? Like, I mean, there's a lot of choices here. And so I think on a very simple term for me, it comes back to communication of what is it that I want. And I'm definitely, like everything else, I don't think any of this is easy. But I think your guys' situation is really unique. Like, it's not that it's super unique, but like, can it be received, say, by someone, when you're saying, hey, I've got a wife, I've got a child, or I've got a husband, I've got a house, right? Like, I have other people. This isn't my budget. This is a family budget, right? Yeah. And so this is what's unique about polyamory, that not everyone is having to navigate. But back to what I was saying is that, this is what I would like if I was saying this to a man. But like another date that I went out on, right? Like, we went to a cute little restaurant in the city, right? I don't drink. I think that like the entrees were $20, and like I don't like the money. Like, in saying that in comparison to like, here's a really expensive one, but I let him choose the restaurant that fit his budget. He actually picked up like a dessert to take out like before he got here, so that we could have that at home, right? And I felt taken care of. I so appreciated he did the planning. And I'm not like, that man was less than this man.
Right. Okay.
So I do recognize that that's true in my feelings. But communication, this is what I think, like, man-women relating is so much about communication, these are the skills we're not taught, which is why I'm such a huge advocate for it. Yeah. Which is, this is my circumstance. You guys, this is, like, my circumstance. Someone looks at me, they don't think that I'm in debt. Like, I have this like huge house, I have this goddess temple, right? And I'm like, and this is what I'm prioritizing because I am, and I have to be vulnerable and say that.
Yeah, and I think what this is just coming back to again and again is something we've discussed on many podcasts is stop the fucking mind reading. Like, this is just, we all just like, well, it's just so much like nicer if we just don't mention that and we just mind read, and that's just like such a myth. But it's an old default that is sometimes really hard to get around, or like to not just default into.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's having the courage to say up front on that Zoom call before anything gets awkward, before you're at the counter deciding, before the check comes, and just plan ahead.
Right. In a way, I think what we're saying is, safer sex conversations like the ones we've talked about are awkward and they're so worth it. And what we're advocating on here is actually having a conversation about money is awkward and so worth it.
Yeah, and there's like the beautiful, so meta thing is that I went on a date a couple weeks ago with this great guy, and it was a second date, And so, of course, I told him about this podcast episode that we're doing. So now it's just totally out there, right? He's like, oh, well, I guess the money's not going to be a thing. He's like, I get it. He's like, he's like, I got dinner. No problem. Right? And so we've broken the ice and it's not awkward anymore. Because I've said there is kind of this conundrum and it's a little bit, there's something off about it.
And what I'm hearing is he said, great, I've got dinner, no problem. And he could have said, that's so great. I would love to go 50-50.
He could have. And I'd have been like, great, no problem.
Yes.
Right. But I just think that it eliminated the awkwardness from the beginning. And now it's not an issue.
Oh my gosh, we've got a podcast in our back pocket that we get to bring on our dates.
I know, it is so true. Yeah. So this is it's a big topic, and I would be very curious to see what Bravehearts are thinking about this.
Yeah, and there's one other thing is that what I also do believe is that there are women who out there who are just looking for a man's wallet.
For sure. Yeah.
And I would imagine if I was a man that feels like fucking shit.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm also acknowledging that I'm not saying, oh, a man is supposed to be paying and like there's no give and take. Like I think what I wanted to call out is I really believe I gave back to both of the men who paid for my dates in a different way. And so acknowledging that there is an energetic exchange, there's a currency exchange and there's an energetic exchange that are of equal value. But in our culture, we don't talk about the part that's not the money part. And what my training and my education has taught me is that actually what a man feels is worth a lot of money is to be in the presence of a joyful, radiant, appreciative woman. And that's who I'm trying to be because that feels really good to me. And those are attributes that I didn't always acknowledge for myself that had value, right? That's a huge shift. Like that's really where the shift is that I'm like, oh, my joy and my radiance is actually worth a fucking lot of money.
Do you hear that, Bravehearts? Say that again.
My joy and my radiance is worth a fucking lot of money.
Yeah.
To be in the presence of my joy and radiance.
Yours is too. Like we all give different ways and have different contributions.
Right.
Yeah. I think this is really something I've had to practice about too. And be like, oh no, I'm bringing this. Like that's worth a lot of value too. Instead of just thinking about, oh, I didn't bring the appetizer or I didn't bring the money or, something that I can touch or that's tangible.
Right.
But some people are bringing an energy or a presence or conversation or
right.
Facilitation.
Right. Or aesthetic or like a beauty in an outfit, right? Like something that changes the energy of a room.
Yeah. Or flowers or food. Like, yeah, exactly.
And I think that my journey, right, and we both talked about, we both like leading with our masculine, right? It wasn't only leading with it, it was an honoring of. I only valued, and this is what I think culturally we're in, is that, and this is what the patriarchy is to me, is that, oh, it's not only is it demanding that whatever is a masculine attribute, right, is what we're aspiring towards. We're demeaning the feminine attributes. Whereas, so for me, what I had to unlearn for myself is I'm not trying to demean my masculine attributes, but I'm just elevating and raising the feminine to be equal and different. So this whole journey is me respecting all parts of myself and the part of myself that is my joy and my radiance and saying, oh, that's actually really has a lot of value in this culture, even though I had been trained to not think so.
Interesting. I keep thinking of more things to say. Like, that's beautiful. And there's like a mic drop there. And I'm reminded of, there's a quote by Esther Perel, and I'm not going to get it exactly right, but it is that when things become one and glom onto each other, there's no attraction or mystery. And so things have to be separate for intimacy and sex to happen. And it is a paradox, right? Because you're coming together as one. Like it's what you kind of think of on a date or, when you're having sex or when you're loving each other. but ultimately they have to be different. And this is what I've learned about. That's why the feminine and masculine are such these great balances. If you're both in the masculine, they're both together and you're not actually noticing or seeing the other. But when you're different, you're like, oh, you're backing up like, oh, I see. This is different than me. I'm curious.
And I would add polarity is the term, like the polarity, the difference, like, you know, an opposites attract, that phrase, right? It is the tension between the difference and the polarity of the masculine and the feminine that brings the sparks together.
Right. Polarity seems so extreme though. Like they have to be like at such opposite ends of the spectrum. Do you know what I mean? Or is that your point?
That is the point.
Okay.
That they're like that's
so different. I think you're right.
Yeah, and so again, back to Alison Armstrong and Rupani and Deida is that, and they're both beautiful. They're equal in their difference. Like it's not like, oh, we want to be the same. We want to be different because the value, the excitement, the tension, the desire, the sparks happen because they're different when they come together.
Yeah, and this is part of why marriages struggle, I think, more and more, and they continue to, because so many of our tasks have become like, you know, the woman is mowing the lawn and the man is changing the diaper, which of course is great and helps run a household really well. But as our identities merge together, we lose that. Mm-hmm. And that is definitely something that I've seen happen.
And I would say that this isn't like, oh, in all aspects of my life, we want this merging. It's like, oh, as a woman, if I'm an executive, right, I need to be in my masculine, most likely. I'm an advocate for also like feminine leadership in executive positions, which isn't ultra culturally like established yet, but nonetheless, right, there's a lot of holding, decision making, like to be successful in big companies. Great. This has nothing to do with, oh, women shouldn't be doing that. This is all like, yeah, that's what I'm doing. And it'd be really nice if I came home and got to leave that at the door. The Queen's Code by Alison Armstrong talks about this. And I'm going to just like leave that at the door. And can I come home and be in my feminine so I can, and I think this is the part that we really haven't stated, is because when I'm leading with my feminine, I feel nourished and recharged and resourced. And that feels, that's also not obvious and intuitive. Mm-hmm. And so then, it's like I'm parched. I'm getting this like sip of this elixir that's like moving through my body. And then I'm like, oh, okay, great. Now I can go to work the next day and make 1,000 more decisions. Mm-hmm. So it's not about, oh, we have to be in one or the other. It's like, oh no, we're dancing through life.
For sure. In both. We're weaving in both through our lives. Okay.
That was big. Did we do it?
Well done. All right. So
that was a conversation. We hope that this is sparking a conversation, right? This wasn't like, here's answers. This is us like, hey, this is alive for us.
Yeah.
What's alive for you with it?
Yeah, come together in your women's groups and talk about this. Like what are the opinions you have? Like how, debate it, get into juicy discussions, ask questions, examine your own biases on it.
Yeah.
It's an invitation.
Yeah. And it also leads into that something that Angie and I are going to be starting, with the Braveheart community is, creating questions maybe for our subscribers who are like, okay, this is what we talked about. Here's 3 questions. Get together with your permission pod of friends who are interested in these topics and then have your own little like podcast club. I don't know. It's not a book club.
It's a permission pod.
It's a permission
pod. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a permission pod.
Where we're just allowing ourselves to talk about this because, back to being a Braveheart is about breaking societal norms. And there is no norms anymore in some of this stuff. And so we're trying to figure out what is the map and the path and the template that works for us.
Yeah, beautiful. Visit permissiontobehuman.live to learn more about our Braveheart conversations, local in Denver at the Goddess Temple, also in some other cities, Philly, Boston, New York. And we are bringing people together into Braveheart communities more and more all the time. So thanks for listening. We love you.
Love you.
Do you need permission to be human? You got it. Listen, subscribe, and review on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Learn more about us at permissiontobehuman.live.